Hi, my name is Cathryn Taylor, and I'm a licensed marriage and family counselor. I'm an addictions therapist, and I'm a practitioner of Gary Craig's emotional freedom techniques, also known as EFT. EFT is a self-administered form of acupressure. I have interfaced it with my modality because it's a beautiful way of neutralizing the energy that gets provoked in response to the issues of our inner child and the issues that result in our addictive behavior. This series of videos is going to be looking at our lives from the angle of how we act out either addictively or compulsively. I'm going to be talking about how grief interfaces both of these behaviors and how the grief may be the expression of the child within you who feels afraid or feels abandoned or feels alone. So in this video, I want to talk specifically about the 5 stages of grief. Grief is a process that we go through anytime we experience a loss. Now, the loss can be real or imagined. It can be a divorce, it can be the loss of a job, the loss of a home, but it can also be the loss of self-esteem, the loss of an identity, the loss of a perception of ourselves, the loss of a certain persona, the loss of holding a certain image in a certain group, which results in shame or feeling like we're not good enough. So it's really important that we know what the 5 stages of grief are and how to identify them in our behaviors and then how to work with them, because on the other side of our getting triggered in any of these stages of grief is our addictive and compulsive behavior. That's the way we stop ourselves from completing the grieving process. The grieving process is a natural process. In my viewpoint, we are participating in one of the 5 stages of grief every minute of our day. The reason for that being that the 5 stages are feeling a sense of panic and anxiety, which can move into trying to control, fix, or change whatever it is that's creating the anxiety, into feeling angry that we are experiencing this loss, that we have to deal with it, and then into the 4th stage of grief, which is the despair, just feeling like we are empty and we have no purpose without that. There's a depression that goes along with the despair, but the despair is really standing in the void, the emptiness that results once we have experienced this disengagement from whatever it is that we're attached to. The 5th stage of grief is the acceptance and resolution. Now, if you think about it, you even go through these 5 stages of grief when you miss a simple phone call. Have you ever been like standing at the doorway of your home and you can hear the phone ringing inside? Well, you go into that anxiety, that panic, that hyperness to get to the phone. You're trying to unlock your door, and there's this anxiety, this edge to it. And then you finally get the door open, you're walking there and you start kind of bargaining, like you even start talking as if that person on the phone can hear you, saying stuff like, just hang on, I'm coming, don't hang up. And then of course right before you get there, they hang up and you go into that irritation, that sense of, man, I could have just almost gotten it. And well, in today's world, we just star 69 it and see who it is. But in the old days when we couldn't do that, we'd feel a loss of being able to talk to that person. And ultimately, we'd resolve that by thinking, well, if it was important, they'd call us back. Now that process, we can go through that in like 5 to 10 seconds. But you have hit every stage of grief in that process. So if you get stuck in any one of those stages, most of us get stuck somewhere along the way. We either are compulsively codependent, trying to fix the world, or we're compulsively agitated and we just are finding different faces to project it on. Or we're in a hyper state of anxiety and fear all the time. So it is in our best interest to learn how to identify the face behind that reaction and how to resolve it so that we can move through from the initial fear of the loss right into resolution. Or if we're stuck in the codependent bargaining phase, to move out of that incessant need to try to control our lives into the resolution and the faith that the outcome is out of our hands. Or to neutralize the edge of the anger, often experienced as just irritation. Now with anger and irritation, that's the place where we have one foot in and one foot out. So often the angry phase is representing our ambivalence. So we want to neutralize that. The despair and the sadness is when we really truly embrace the fact that we're going to be without, and we're dealing with the sadness of that. And EFT can be wonderful in moving through that. I have, in fact, a couple videos on my website that deal with the loss of my pet, who was my companion for 13 years. And I even have a demonstration of showing how we can move through that incredible sadness and sorrow that we have, and moving right into that connectedness and neutralizing the pain so that we can open up to that unconditional love that our pets offer us. And once we get into that vibration, then there is no loss. So that was inspired by that stage of sadness. The fifth stage is the resolution. That's what we're always trying to get back to. So through this series, I'll talk more specifically about each one of these stages, and I will offer EFT sequences so that if you're stuck in that, you can move through it. So I hope this series is useful. Thank you.